live from Nordstrom.
Hey,
Man,
what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Teachers Lounge podcast. This is the first episode we've ever mentioned the Teachers Lounge. So, again, welcome back to the Teachers Lounge. My name is DJ Geometrics. We got Stylist Chris. We got DJ Sean J.
Yeah.
We got Doc Blust.
What up? What up?
We got As One, who's back.
Live
he was
from
missing
Nordstrom.
last time. He was in Vegas last time, so he's back.
We're back.
Yes, we're back, and we got a special guest. We haven't had a special guest in a long time, so we have one of the homies, DJ Little Rock, back in the place here.
Jazz hands,
Rock.
Little Rock.
Woo! Yeah, we don't have the sound anymore.
What's poppin', fam?
Yes. So, Little Rock, what's up with you? What's the update?
The update is
Literally
we added a second story to our house this summer. And if you've ever done any type of construction, which I have not, for the record, this is the first time. I make the joke that I grew up in a trailer home and my wife grew up in Bethesda, so there was no projects on a trailer home. You know, you didn't add a second trailer to your home. Hannah grew up with always new things. So we're almost done, but we're, it's chaotic because I'm also in the middle of wedding season. Wow. So that's all I have to say.
I did see on your social back then that you had a hole in your studio. Is that gone now?
Day one, I made a joke about it during my stream, but it was funny. I didn't know what this was going to mean. I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue working here or what. And I tried it. And the first day was demolition day. I've never been a part of a demolition day. It is the worst thing ever. There's people banging on my house, taking the whole roof off of my house while I'm trying to work. And day one, a foot comes through my studio right above my turntables. I actually have it here. I'll show you. You see that?
Little Rock is showing the whole
foot came through.
Oh, right there in the corner.
The first thing I heard was my man Luis. He goes, DJ, aquí. And I made a promise to myself that, you know what? I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna start this project on the wrong foot. So at the end of the day, I bought everybody a bunch of beers. I think we got pizza. I met everybody, and we were cool about it.
Literally the wrong foot.
But I'm running out of patience.
How long has the project been going on?
Through the wall.
It started in May. It's supposed to be done by the end of September. And we have a strong month left. So they're doing all the inside work. So trim, painting, doors, all of that. But for some reason, that part is taking the longest.
Oh, man.
Next demo day you have in the future, just go to a WeWork.
Wait, did you have to take a break from streaming for a little bit?
No, that was the amazing thing was, we're on a budget, so I couldn't really afford paying, rent somewhere else. So we tried to avoid that. So we really haven't needed to be out of the house very much. So we've been very fortunate.
That's dope. So anybody listening, make sure to visit, Little Rock's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DJ Little Rock, correct? Is that the right link?
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one. I'm proud of that one.
DJ Little Rock. So
killing it, man. You never know what you're gonna get.
So again, everybody, welcome to the Teachers Lounge podcast presented by Beat Refinery. If you want to learn how to mix, scratch, and make music, visit beatrefinery.com. We have locations nationwide. So let's go ahead and start the show. Doc, what do you got going on first?
Today in music news, Apple Music recently just linked up with Shazam's technology to allow DJs to throw up their mixes. They've always allowed DJs to put actually their mixes on there, but now with this technology, Shazam will ID all the tracks in there to help pay royalties to all the artists that are in the mix, and hopefully allowing other artists an incentive to make more mixes and put them up on Apple Music and get those artists paid. Yeah,
so from my understanding, I think from what we read, it a lot of like the DJ mixes that's uploaded onto Apple Music are ones that are like created like albums, you know, like
Right.
you really can't find like a very continuous mix, DJ mix on Apple Music unless they're created like an album. So you basically have to like, you know, make your DJ mix and split them up like with, you know, individually.
Like an old school mixtape CD. It's the same idea where you could seek through the tracks and you hear the transitions.
Exactly.
And I guess that's the easiest way to get all these artists paid, you know, because you know, we were assuming like a lot of DJs that post up DJ mixes on Apple Music are licensed. You know, they're DJs that had like licensed music that they're allowed to use on their mix. But now that with Apple Music, they acquired that Shazam technology from a few years back, and now they're easily able to, like, you know, this is based on the article that you can pretty much record like a very continuous mix, upload it, and then now the Shazam technology can easily track what songs were used on those mixes, and then now both the artists and I'm guessing that from what I was reading, the DJs can get paid as well.
Yeah, in fact, Apple Music is the first platform that offers now continuous mixes where there's a fair fee involved for the artists whose tracks are included in it. Now with this update, with this partnership.
I would say it sounds like Apple is the first one within the like general population streaming world, because this is the same idea of what Mixcloud has done. But I like the idea that if you've got like a back catalog of old mix CDs or something like that, you can now upload that stuff and just the rest of the back end stuff is able to be taken care of, where I didn't know that was an option before.
And
I didn't even realize like DJs can actually upload mixes on Apple Music and Spotify, but this actually makes it easier. I think there's a service that we saw, Doc, we were reading up on, like I think Proton is one of those distributors that can help DJs upload a DJ mix, and I'm guessing like Audius would be like a service that everybody can start using and be able to post up their DJ mixes up on the streaming service. But has anybody used any streaming services, music streaming platforms to post up a DJ mix legally?
I've never tried, but I remember reading that there were articles a couple years ago saying that this was coming, and I just thought it was radio silence ever since. I'd never even tried because I didn't know it was official. Now that it's official, I feel like I'm going to try it.
Yeah, I'd love to try this. I've been using SoundCloud for that.
So is this going to be one of those platforms where
no mention of Mixcloud at all?
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna ask: Are there going to be like a mass exodus of DJs going from Mixcloud to Apple Music? If it is true that we're allowed to upload, amateur DJs that can upload, their own DJ mixes up on these sites.
I feel like they're still going to have to go through the same aggregation process as anything getting onto iTunes media of any sort. You're not going to just be able to be like, oh, sweet, great, I'm going to go post my mix. I think it's going to still have to be the same way if you want to be on an Apple podcast like this show is. You're going to have to go through some sort of thing. You're going to have to pay some sort of money. And then most likely my guess will be that there will be probably some more brands doing this. It'll be more of a cross marketing where a lifestyle brand is going to grab a DJ and have them make a mix. And then instead of in the old days where if you were a brand or a record label trying to do a compilation, you had to pay all these upfront royalties and hope to make the ends. I think what it's going to do is more, instead of needing to pay all the licensing fees, maybe you pay a flat licensing fee for each song and then plus, or it's going to really change the way that it's going to open up in a lot of ways opportunities for.
I think that's what I read. Like
paid.
The most popular mixes that's on Apple Music right now are like boiler room mixes.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially in the electronic music.
This is actually speaking to a lot of in the 2000s. I remember as soon as you said that, Chris, brands such as Scion, not a sponsor, used to have a mixtape series, and every single year they'd have a new set of DJs that put out the Scion mix, and they'd get out at the car shows and everything, but it was like a thing that obviously cost them money. I never questioned how the licensing happened, but that whole thing is deaded. That whole thing is dried up. So if that comes back, there's a lot of opportunity there. I think that's really promising. Anybody
use their Mixcloud? Especially, doesn't like Mixcloud have like a service that you pay, like Mixcloud Select? That
Mixcloud Select,
$15 a month, I think. It's not like
I've been paying for it, but I haven't been using it. I'm not gonna front. I just pay for it for the streaming.
But DJs actually get paid, right? Like you can do a lot of things with Mixcloud Select.
You can have, it's like Twitch where you can have a subscribe. Like people can subscribe to your page.
I'd say it's more like Patreon because you can have like subscriber only mixes that they can only hear if they're subscribed to. So like on the back end, they can hear all the private stuff. Where if they want to pay that $2 or whatever you price it at on Mixcloud Select. So it's more like, do you want to get the money on the front end or the back end is what it sounds like. The back end would be the Apple Music route. The front end would be the Patreon Mixcloud kind of route.
Little Rock, do you get do you offer a lot to your subscribers as far as like, you know, like mixes or I don't know what else, you know, like exclusive exclusive content, I guess.
Find out.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it because it's huge, like a bunch of all the things you could do on our channel and the benefits. But when I was starting out, there was if you were a subscriber, you were able to download my mixes. But what that ended up doing was the work that went into me having to upload the mixes after every single stream and make it available to certain people was too much of a workload. So it kind of goes back to the Mixcloud thing is I think a lot of people, like the reason why I don't use Mixcloud as much, I have mixes up there and I love it. It's kind of a social media network for mixes. You know, you share mixes, you can, I don't know. I really like that aspect of it is building a network through mixes, but that's the problem I run into is like, I don't think the technology for me is there yet where I can do what I usually do, you know, throughout my day. And then also like have time to upload like a 4-hour mix. Yeah. Like that just takes a lot of bandwidth.
Are you uploading the audio?
Yeah, the audio.
Okay.
So every single stream that you do, you go ahead and download the stream right away after.
Well, I used to. I did that for like 3 weeks. That's kind of like going back to your question about do I offer any like benefits to subscribers. So the mixes was something, but I'm just not in a place where I can do that consistently and guarantee that to my customers, to my subscribers, and my community. So I quit doing that. Sometimes people will ask, like, hey, if you record this, do you mind sending it over? And like, if you're part of my community, like, why not share more music with you? So I don't really charge people for mixing.
Well, I think Little Rock has a lot of subscribers, not to where he's like, I don't need to work for these guys.
133, baby. We're 133 strong.
That's awesome, man.
I'm proud of all 133 subscribers.
Nice.
Digitally getting down.
Would you be more incentivized or inclined to do that? Like upload a 4-hour mix if you were going to get more. You were going to get paid out for it and pay out the artist on your mix,
love it.
Like with this feature?
So I'm going back to the topic is like, I love that Apple Music is doing because Apple Music is the leader. Like, I mean, they're really taking over actual radio. They have like Apple Radio, Beats Radio. And the fact that there's now a place for DJs to monetize and also kind of like work together with artists, because I would assume with Apple Music, you know, there's always something that just keep you there. So maybe it's like, this is how we keep you coming to Apple Music artists is because you like, oh, you like this song? Well, it happens. Like, let me show you where to find it on Apple Music right this way. That's kind of what the angle I see. So I'm cool with it. It seems like a genuine angle because it helps out other artists and it helps out DJs. So I feel good about it. Like it feels clean. I don't feel dirty about what's happening. I'm really excited. I think this is like the golden age of like what we do.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that is exciting.
I would be curious if what how they're gonna handle like a lot of like DJs that create their own remixes or and post it up on the mixes. So, but let's move on. We've got next topic, and we lost as one. As one is streaming is connected to us via his
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts Wi-Fi for the win.
So we might have
not a sponsor.
Art coming in and out. But let's move on. Doc, what's next?
All right, transitioning over. I mean, talking about social media, we do have one of the
best
most
social media,
the most where everyone's hanging out right now is TikTok, and 75% of users on TikTok say they discover new artists and music on the platform. Do you guys? Who else does that?
Have you guys caught yourself discovering a lot of the newer music on TikTok?
I will tell you guys.
I know Sean is a big TikTok user.
Here on the show, I'm going to tell you a conversation that happens in my kitchen between me and my wife with the dog next to us all the time. Hey, have you seen this trend with this whatever song? I don't know that song by name. She'll tell me the name, and I'll be like, nah, I don't know that one. And then I'll listen to it on her phone. I'm like, oh, I've heard that like 40 times today. Then I click on the name of the sound, and I'm like, oh, this song. Note to self, download that later. And then like 2 hours later, invert the conversation. Hey, wife, have you heard this thing? And then it's back and forth. It's like it gets ingrained in your mind because there's so many things happening so fast, but like you hear it without realizing you're like getting exposed to all this new stuff. And after a while, you're like, I genuinely like a lot of what I'm hearing. And I know exactly how to find it.
Now, to ask everybody who's like, back to working at clubs, does it translate? Like, have you found like that some of the things that you've discovered on TikTok, do they translate well in the clubs?
That's the question.
Yes and no, because there's snippets of songs. But I'm gonna let everybody else speak on this one. I don't know if anybody else has seen it firsthand.
I don't know if Art needs to be popped into the stream or he's just there cooling backstage because he thinks he's so cool. But
yeah, Art, come on.
I think what I have done with TikTok is just paid attention and not as much. I don't have a TikTok account, but with a lot of TikTok videos do come in via other social media. So I see a lot of TikTok videos on Facebook or on Instagram that people posted or on Twitter. And to me, I think the reason it's important to pay attention to it is obviously there's songs that are happening there that do translate to young people, period.
Right.
And that's the most important thing is if you're going to still be playing for any crowd, whether it's a wedding or whether it's a corporate event or a sporting event or a club, it's still important to, I think, at least have the ability to hit something that's brand new at any time. And so, I think there's a lot of DJs that get trapped where they get to my age, especially, and they just stop putting in the effort to listen to new music or keep up with new music. And that's the quickest way to get yourself like out of the loop. And that's not just a wedding. There's not a bride and groom that want to be like, yeah, we have this old DJ that like, and you can be 50, you can be 60. If you're still on top of your game, they're not going to say you're an old DJ. They're going to. And so you really do need to keep up with what young people are listening to. I also think it's really dope that my daughter like discovers a lot of old music on TikTok. Tons of like.
I think that's what translates more.
It does.
Like, I think there's a lot of a lot of the older music are coming back, as far as because a lot of those songs are going viral on TikTok. So it's like it's coming back.
I mean, the amount of Michael Jackson that my daughter knows is awesome. It's really great to hear her, like, for whatever reason, tell me why her favorite song. And like for me, of course, my favorite Michael Jackson song is going to be based on my youth. And she's discovering Michael Jackson in her youth, but all in one gigantic whoosh, where it was less like progression of the time. In the album, she's just getting it all, so it just feels new to her all at one time, and it's interesting to see what song she gravitates to based on different things. So and like Motown songs and like random rock songs, like the other day she was like it was like a rock song. It was a Led Zeppelin song actually, and she was like oh yeah, I know this song. And she like started singing it and everything. And I was like, okay, where do you know? And she was like, it's TikTok.
TikTok.
What do you think is the biggest, classic, older song that got big on TikTok recently? Sean, I mean, you're the heavy user. I know one like Tricky, Run DMC Tricky was
Never
like,
gonna give you up.
like one of those songs that really like.
Tricky, yeah, that was a minute ago.
But it's you know, for us older DJs, we still kind of play that for our corporate gigs and.
Yeah, for us old washed guys. Yeah, I feel like I can't think of an older song that's currently trending, but I do know that when it really comes down to it, you had that Pennies from Heaven song like 3-4 months ago. I don't remember who the artist was, but like it's a track that sounds like an Otis Redding or whatever, and it was on everybody's page because it's just like a very relatable, mellow kind of big band jazz track.
The Louis Prima, the original, right?
Yeah, the original one. And that one was recently all over the place, and I feel like I didn't even know about the original one until TikTok. But before I even got to it, because I got to it late, there's millions of kids now that are like, "Oh yeah, that song. I know that song. I like that song. It made me interested in jazz."
Little Rock, do you use TikTok?
I don't have a TikTok account.
Are you a lurker? Or don't even have the app in your phone?
No, I don't have it. I don't have it there's no specific reason other than like that's like one more distraction I just don't need right now, and I can't keep up with it. And we go back and forth in our industry with Ryan and I, my partner, about if we need to utilize it for our business because there are advantages. But I don't think our company is big enough to like have a person to handle that, and I think that's what that needs.
That's true.
I will tell a quick story here. I had a bride. Her wedding is in February, maybe. She wants all of her for introductions. You usually choose a song or two for the wedding party to come out to. She wants every individual group to come out to a TikTok dance.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm going to say here kind of like encapsulates how I feel about the whole situation, because that's what I told her. I said, here's I wouldn't recommend this for a few logistical reasons, but like number one, you in order for us to do this, you need to tell me like way in advance where they're going to be. By the time your wedding comes, is it going to be still trending? Right. Number one, because I'm not going to have you changing these songs last minute on me. Yep. Number two, like the people they're being introduced to the wedding part, like the older people, they're not going to know. They're just like, what is going on? So that right there, my issue with TikTok is you're already creating like divide amongst people in one social gathering, right? They're like, why are they playing this Third Eye Blind song? Right. And they're like, oh, it's a TikTok dance. And they're like, okay.
But are you already creating a divide anyways? Because like, even before TikTok, if you do individual songs for, during your grand introduction, and introducing the bridesmaid, groomsmen, they already do a certain dance to, I mean, not all of them, but like, but I mean, they're already doing some sort of routine.
But every table,
isn't that the same thing?
Every table is going to be like, what's that?
Yeah.
And like that's going to happen at every single table, and I just think that like now it's not what it should have been. It should have just been you being introduced to a fun song. And I think in a social gathering, that kind of gets like bigger because you're at the bar, the girl you're with runs out there, just like TikTok dance, and you're like what, and it just created like communication errors that are already happening at the club. I guess that's how I feel. But I'm happy that people are discovering music in any way, and I think ultimately it's going to make its way to the DJ if it's something that really catches on. And like you're saying about the older music, I had a 6-year-old girl come up and request "This Is How We Do It" by Montel Jordan, and I was like,
that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say that's the plus side of
this.
If
it's worth paying attention to, it's going to make its way up here naturally. I don't need to spend 6 hours on TikTok a week to discover new music.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that. It'll get requested and I'll have it and I'll be ready to go.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to, because there are a lot like BPM Supreme. They do have a virals chart.
I think every
Beat Source
Don't get me started on that one.
Has a TikTok playlist.
Yeah. Beat Source has a TikTok playlist.
Don't get me started.
I think I see where you're going with that one.
Here's what to play.
Right. Yeah, I see where you're going with that one, Little Rock. I'm gonna back away. Yeah. However, I will say this. I did not know what this meant to people, but when I say Young Gravy, what do you guys hear? What do you guys think?
Wait, what'd you say? Young?
When I say Young Gravy, you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's this random
we're all
TikTok
washed here,
song.
so.
Yeah, we're all washed. It's this random TikTok song, Gravy Train. I didn't know the name of it, but I got like 25 people, no joke, running up to me and saying like, "Can you play Gravy Train?" And I'm like, I mean, I'm glad I did my research in advance because I had to download that stuff for a gig yesterday. But I was like, this was the biggest song of the night. Young, old, and ever. I don't know how. I had never paid attention to this song. Gravy Train by Young Gravy. And I'm just like, the fact that this is like across ages, somehow everybody knew whatever was going on. And I'm just like, I just got to play it and watch the reaction. That's the beauty of TikTok. I don't know, but I don't think it matters. It worked in the moment, and that's kind of what I think what Little Rock's point is. It's going to work its way to me eventually. So whether I'm looking for it or not, I'm just trying to stay on TikTok because one, I think it's entertaining as all hell.
I think everybody.
Two, because eventually you start to subconsciously learn the music, even if you don't know the name of it, so you know when to mix it.
I think it's high time, if you have like a Beat Source account, make sure to look for that playlist and make sure it's ready in your Serato.
and man, don't make me make a TikTok playlist on Beat Source. I will do it.
The last thing,
it already exists.
The last thing we can say, and let's move on to our next topic, would be
new music.
Sirius XM Radio. They have a TikTok channel now.
Nice.
So, what does that mean? So they just play.
So no, there's a station. It's like, I think it's channel 4 or something, or channel 5. It's either channel 3 or 4. There's TikTok Radio. It's one of the channels on Sirius XM.
I think I've seen a whole bunch of Sirius XM commercials lately. One of them, which had, I think it was during the game yesterday. One of them had Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart finally figured out, you don't have to listen to Sirius XM just in your car. You can actually listen to it everywhere. So. Yeah. Wow. That commercial was funny. They were just educating all the old people where you can listen to it.
How come Kesha is not making any money off of any of this? That sucks for her, bro.
Ooh.
TikTok. She has a song called TikTok, bro.
And she does spell it the same way.
Nobody has a viral TikTok.
Excuse me, she didn't invent the name TikTok either. So she's probably not need to be paying somebody before that.
What exactly is TikTok the way it's spelled? The first time I saw that spelled TikTok, that way was from Kesha.
To the TikTok, you don't stop. I mean, come on, man.
But you don't spell it that way.
Or Madonna, TikTok. Wait, wasn't it music?
You spell it as TICK.
It was Music.ly. Music.ly was the first name.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So what I realized was I think Music.ly was huge around the world.
Right.
Like it was already big South America. This, that, Music.ly, but then I think they changed, either someone bought it out and they changed it to TikTok, or it changed to TikTok, and then it came to America, and I think that's when shit hit a fan.
Well, I think we got to move on. So everybody, if you don't want to be left behind, I guess, subscribe to some TikTok charts or just
follow me on TikTok. Follow Jalapeno
lurk
Pupper
on TikTok once in a while. All right, moving on. We'll still keep it with new music. So.
Yes.
What do we have next?
Ooh.
Who had the better album? We recently had 2 new releases, Drizzy or Ye?
Well, real quick, Adrian, something's wrong with your microphone, because I can only hear you. You're tickling my my right ear only. You know, I mean, it's nice, but
here comes the notes. I got my notes too.
Thank you for that. I'm working.
But yeah. So Drake and Kanye had their. Kanye finally had Donda released finally after how many concerts? 3 or 4 shows.
Donda.
And of course Drake, I think he released his a week after. So yes. What do you guys think of the new albums?
Well, I think, let's put a little backstory in this. And Little Rock is not only a former Beat Refinery instructor, still in my mind, anytime he's ready to come back and teach, the job's always there for him. So he's one of us, no matter what. He's been on our shows, whether it was the 9 at 9s or on hall passes, and so he's fam. And he texted me last week and goes, it'd be a great idea. You guys should do an episode about the Drizzy and the Ye release. And I was like, it's a great idea, but only doing it if you can come on the show.
Yeah.
This is your idea.
And here we are.
So here we are. So I say we open the floor to the man with the idea and let him.
That's really nice.
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you.
Our resident expert.
Yeah.
I'm just
Is this any better?
I think I'm so excited that we're having this right now. Like, it's just two hip hop titans going at it. It had that feel. Those two that had that heavyweight fighter feel, and the build up and the way they both kind of utilized social media. I'm sure there was cool TikTok stuff. Everything was Drake, Kanye. Everything was certified lover boy, Donda. And I think Kanye does that really well. When you know, his back and forth with Taylor Swift, you know, he's done it with 50 Cent. And they're both at the top of their game. And I was just so excited. And I was like, there's not a lot of people giving like in-depth talk about it. Cause I talk to people and they're like, oh, Drake, the certified lover boy is better, or, you know, Don is better, but they kind of just don't talk about it.
Right. It's more of a personal opinion. And this is where I lead into this topic both of them have pretty distinct fan base. Like, I'm talking like real fan bases, not like, oh, I mess with Drake or I mess with Kanye. It's like they're both very polarizing. They have people that either really like them or really dislike them. And it's interesting because, you know, Kanye is Kanye, and he's, you know, he takes some crazy stances. It's not anything new. It's like anybody that's mad at him now because he like got on Trump train or whatever, he started craziness he's been doing the last couple of years. He's been doing crazy stuff like this his entire life.
Yeah, this is nothing new.
This is nothing new. So if you all of a sudden jumped off of him because of his political stance or his antics, then like I feel like you were just a dick rider.
You missed the point. Yeah, exactly.
You know? Like, because this has always been a part of him, and you got to kind of, if you like him, you're going to have to accept that he's a different person, his artistry and he's a very complicated individual. You know, the same reason that he still works with a lot of artists still like to work with him. I mean, you think him and Jay and Kanye have the same political, you know, like, no.
You're so right. And I think this album kind of solidifies, you know, the way he's been and always going against the grain. And I think he kind of reached that now, and I think it makes sense to the most people. Because before it's like, yeah, he's great, but like, why is he gotta be an asshole? And my thing was like, why do you care about his character so much? Because his artwork, you're being distracted from his artwork, and that was the issue with a lot of like diehard Kanye fans, if you will, is they're like, yeah, Kanye, just be a little less distracting as being an asshole, so more people can see your artwork. You know, he's like scaring people away before they even get a chance to really experience it and give it a shot. And this right here, I think, you know, the art is able to speak for itself no matter what he's doing. And he's had like 8 listening parties.
This kind of reminds me of Richard Wagner, who was incredible composer. Yeah. But at the end discovered he was a diehard Nazi.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
Yeah. You know, he changed the game in terms of classical music completely and made it more cinematic, added atonal parts to it, and incredible artwork, and then realized, oh, he was a Nazi.
But I gotta hand it to Ye. Like, I don't think anybody has ever done that to where he sold stadiums for an album release party that he hasn't even completed.
Yeah.
How many shows did he do?
3.
I stopped counting.
Oh, I thought he just did 3.
I thought it was 3? More than that.
Let's call it 3, 3.5.
I know, like big stadium shows, like that one in Chicago at Soldier Field.
I mean, he lived in Atlanta, the Mercedes-Benz stadium.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium, yeah.
But it got whatever it was. It got people talking. You know, like everybody had their own opinions on what was going on, and you got this divorce with Kim, and it's this beef with Drake, and he's making money, but he wants more money. It's weird. But then
filing bankruptcy at the same time.
Filing bankruptcy.
The biggest
got this deal with Gap.
It's like billionaire. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I have like some side notes apart from just the notes from the individual songs.
Well, before we get into your notes,
okay.
I want to hear what your ratings are. Like, should we do like an old Source magazine. How many mics? How many mics?
Ooh.
How would you rate Drake's and Ye's?
Certified Lover Boy out of 5 mics is 3 mics.
Okay.
Donda. It's 5.
Wow!
Really? Wow.
It's either 4 or 5. And the more I listen to it, the first time I listened to it, the very first time I said it's my first album of his in 10 years.
So top 5 of his.
And then I was thinking about Graduation. I was thinking about 5 mic albums, and I was like, this is better. This is better than Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent. It is. It is.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kanye, we'll get into this, but the fact that Kanye brought rap here, it's 5 mics. Drake kept the game here, and he's doing it great. Great job. But Kanye was like, I'm just going to take it over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He expanded out the envelope.
Rap,
Pushing
to
him
new
out.
places.
You're saying Donda is as good as My Dark Twisted Fantasy?
It's not as good, in my opinion. It's really good. It's like, 1A and 1B.
Top five of his.
But I think they both went in the direction to take rap where it hasn't been. Remember Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Watch the Throne, where Kanye was going to the Louvre?
Yeah.
And he was trying to make music that would be put in a Louvre.
Yeah, he's
We
trying
saw
to do
that with the Power video.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything like that in 10 years. He really hasn't.
Can I jump in here real quick? Can I jump in real quick? Because this is the thing about this comparison that I think is very important to accept, that we're having a conversation about two massive artists, titans in their own lanes, who have put out projects that are, of course, the talk of everybody's social media for the next God knows how long. We're not going to be able to honestly say, just bringing this back full circle, if it's a 5 mic album yet. But I feel like you're making a very strong argument. But I absolutely agree with you.
Is it better?
Kanye
Than
has
Get
done?
Rich or Die Trying?
Absolutely. And I think the reason for that is because there is a progression throughout Kanye's career where he would always try something new that was not well received. But that's what happens with good art. When it's new, people are like, that's weird. But then they start really examining it, and it becomes good. It becomes familiar, and then you can make your objective decision later on if you like it or if you don't. And just like Chris said, both artists are very polarizing. I feel like what Drake has done with Certified Lover Boy is, hey, we got a train that's got a good momentum. We don't want to mess up anything. If we're in a boat, we don't want to rock the water because the money train is going real good.
Right.
Very accurate.
The New Yorker
Kanye
even said
took the stadium and basically did what tech companies do. I'm going to show you guys the creative process. And I was like, I have to listen to the Drake album first because I heard way more positive stuff about the Kanye album. Drake is just kind of doing what works for him, and he's got a thing that's working well.
Well, what's
Kanye's
everybody
trying something new?
Yeah, let's do.
What's everybody else's rating? Like
Sean,
Chris.
what's yours?
Sean.
I don't want to say 5. I don't want to say 5. I will say a solid 3.5 for Donda. I will say a solid 2 for Drake.
Wow, that's heavy. I'll go with Drake. I'm gonna go. I did this thing. So my process of these albums was to try to really give them both. I tried to separate my personal feelings about them as individuals. I tried to separate my personal music taste. I also tried to take into a fact of how hard it is to get myself and anybody really to listen to an entire album of anybody straight through. Because an album, when we were growing up, or when I was growing up, you would grab an album and listen to it front to back and be uninterrupted.
Lived with it.
Because you have no choice.
Well, and so hence why it's so hard for any artist of any genre to make a concise album in 2021.
Let
That's
alone
what the
20
issue
plus
is.
tracks.
Right. Now both of the albums did not need
27.
neither one of
today.
those albums needed all those songs. They didn't. Like
that's why I can't say 4 for Ye.
I would have much
27 tracks.
And why I did not understand this part. They should have done like 16 tracks each, and then waited like 4 months and released the bonus, like Christmas time, the bonus edition with all these extra songs. That would have made a lot more sense. Pick your top 16, make it an album, like go that way. I didn't understand all the overkill, but I did come out with a lot of interesting things, but we'll talk about it in a minute. But as far as Mike's, in today's climate, I give Drake a 3 and I give Kanye a 4.5.
Ooh, wow. High marks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't the word that
if this was like me like thinking about albums from the way I would think about albums in the 90s, it wouldn't be that.
Here's what I want to know. Like there was talks that both Drake and Kanye's albums were supposed to drop the same day.
I don't know about that.
You know.
Yeah.
And I was wondering when was the last time
did they
when
drop
do you guys
back though?
Yeah, it was like a week,
It was
close.
a week from each other. So
Yeah. It was.
There was word that it was supposed to drop at the same day, but you know that's like a horrible business decision, anyways. You know.
Yeah.
But does anybody remember when was the last time two heavyweights dropped an album same same week or like close to each other? Because I remember I think 50 and Kanye had like some sort of like
2007. Kanye sold like 300,000 more records than him, and remember 50 was like, I'm done, but he didn't.
Yep.
So the question is, if it did drop the same day, who would have won that day? Who would have sold more records that day?
I think
Drake.
Yeah,
I think Drake.
Definitely Drake.
Probably Drake. I mean, if you ask me, I'm not going with kind of how you. I'm not even gonna give it a mic rating, bro. It's just if I had to listen to this stuff and you forced me, I only had 2 albums I could pick from to listen to for a whole week. After hearing a taste of all of them, I would probably pick Donda. And again, I'm going off of the more just artistic value and endeavor of the music, and he put Griselda on there. He had Havoc in the studio.
Oh my God.
He's a real ass hip hopper. He might be doing and again, I gotta be honest, I grew up Buddhist, so the whole preachy feel of the album, it's not like something like, I think there's people that are like, oh, that's not the turn. I think people are like, oh yeah, I love this. Like for me, I didn't grow up with that, so I don't really even like. I feel the tone of that, but it's not something that I love about it. But again, I like the I just like the stuff that's going on there a little bit more. But in terms of the Drake record, though, I can tell you I was splitting them off the top. I was like, all right, Drake's record's got more club records. Yes. I'm definitely going to be playing more of these Drake records off of this album at the club. The only record that might hit is the Lauryn Hill joint, that Kanye has. Yeah. Fire.
Yeah.
That track is fire. That was for the DJs, bro.
That was amazing.
That was for the way the kick drum hits at that just tempo, it's for the DJs. And like that song's dope, but other than that, Drake's definitely got more joints that are going to be played in the.
Yeah, that's for the moment though, because clubs change every 2 years. That's the thing about it.
Well, and you also never know. Like when you have your DJ ears on, you're going with what you're thinking is going to be safe to play in the club.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you never know what's going to happen. There's plenty of songs that we all play that we were like, I can't believe this became a hit, and you play it. And and there's certainly things on the Kanye that could go that way if it did. Not saying it will, but the thing that I find really interesting about both of them is they are very similar, and in a lot of ways that you think of them as 2 totally different artists, but if you kind of start to really analyze, a lot of them on both of these albums, they were using a lot of non-percussive tracks. Like there's so much space in there. They both auto-tune sing. They both rap. Like there's so many, like there's some times where I'm like, wow, that could totally have been Kanye's line. That could have totally been Kanye singing, and it's Drake, and vice versa.
I said the same thing. I have that in the note. I was like, it's so weird because I was writing down some of my favorite lines from each album, and I was like, this is so corny. Like the other one could have said it because they both kind of have that kind of like corny style.
But as far as like lyrical substance, whose album, or like maybe even like talk about like a song.
Hold on.
What's gonna be like?
Let's let Little Rock go through some of his notes.
Right,
yeah, like what's gonna be like a song that will stand the test of time?
So
you know?
So I thought when I was judging the albums, I was like, okay, we got to judge the features. We got to compare the features. We got to compare, obviously, the lyricism because that is
hate how
hip-hop.
Kanye doesn't put the features on the track title.
That
feels dirty.
I mean, I can see that. It feels a little dirty. I can see artistically maybe why he did that, but no, it's not.
And then I judged them kind of like for like you were saying, like which one of these am I going to play at the club? And then outside of that, I kind of just judge an album just based on is there an overall theme? Does this feel like a complete body of work, or does this feel like Drake After Hours?
Well,
like,
let's get rid of the DJ ears. Let's get rid of the DJ ears and see.
Damn it, it's hard.
As a fan,
it's hard. Yeah.
As a fan,
but I think it is important that a hip hop album does have club anthems. That's what makes it memorable. So I did want to judge it that way. Number one, features. Sure. I thought Kanye and Chris, you might have said this earlier, but Kanye gets the best out of his features, and he was really shining, getting the most out of Playboi Carti. I wrote down a lot of, like you mentioned Griselda, and there's a few other people on choruses where you're like, yo, who is this?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at it, you're like, who is this? You don't hear these people sound to their potential until they're on a Kanye track, and then I was going back and I was listening to Drake's features, and I think maybe we kind of know what to expect with Drake's style when he's going somewhere with a song. But 21 Savage out raps him on that track together.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's. So I think that hurts Drake a little bit. I don't know how to judge that, but I was like, can 21 Savage come back, Drake? Jay-Z's verse.
Let's get him back.
Jay-Z's verse feels a little lazy on Drake's album. Travis Scott's verse seems a little lazy on Drake's album. There was no feature that really like stood out to me other than the 21 Savage verse, and I was like, look, we should go back to that. I think Drake probably has more, like you're saying, of the club anthems, and that's maybe Poppy's Home, Champagne Poetry, Girls Want Girls, and Fountains. I'm playing a lot of that right now. Yeah. That's hot. Yeah. My famous transition that I like is Whoa, Snow Allegra into Girls Want Girls by Drake. Hot. Poppy's Home, sick. Everything else is just garbage to me. I like where he tries to go at Kanye in the diss track, but it's certified lover boy.
I know.
With Pregnant Baby.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. Come on, man.
I didn't get the album.
No,
that was Donda. Drake went from naming
that though. Wait, coattailing off of that from what Chris said about climate as well, and back then, if this was a different climate with where the 5 mics, the source was actually out, and those dudes would be considered R&B dudes right now.
Yes,
let's be honest.
Yeah. They're not feel like a genuine album, kind of.
Dudes. They're rappers to us in this modern day, but in the 90s, they're R&B N-words. That's like that's what the rappers would call them. We're rappers. That's R&B. Singing, that's what they say.
Everything kind of felt like genuine or even early Trey songs. Like it kind of had that
Thuggish Ruggish Bone even.
Yeah, there we go.
Bone Thugs they were singing and doing that. I could not stand that shit when it came out.
Oh, really?
But, so you didn't like but now
you don't like Crucial Conflict?
But now no, it's different to sing a hook than to sing like through the
verses.
Rap.
Yeah, the sing rap thing was so new when they did it.
Yeah, but to be honest, looking back at it now, I'm like, wow, that's dope artistry. And I was kind of stuck in my East Coast b-boy shit, and looking at it now, 20 years later, it's kind of like, wow, these guys were just trying to be creative. They were trying to find themselves. They were trying to be unique, and Drake certainly was unique when he came out, but he, if you never heard this album and you weren't like a big Drake fan, you wouldn't be able to tell if these songs were produced 2021 or 2015. His style has not changed at all, really, from once he kind of honed in on what he could do as a formula. He's just there. Where Kanye is constantly. I think the big difference in what you're saying, Kyle, that of why Kanye gets more out of his artists is because he's also the producer. Where Drake is just a rapper.
Right.
And like somebody else made the track and they're just coming in and they're spitting. They're probably not even in the same room. He's just like, hey, here's the track and just put a verse down and cool, thanks. Where Kanye is breathing life into the whole thing. And he's like even if he's working with other producers, he's got like a vision in mind. He's got a true conceptual piece to this whole album that he was like. I'm not sure, I haven't done enough, and maybe you can speak to this, Kyle, but was that actually like an excerpt of his mom speaking somewhere? That's the way he did that was freaking brilliant. And it was, to see him be able to like take this actual speech that his mom gave and like construct
in the album,
construct this verse around it. Not only what she was talking about, how it was so it was kind of eerie to me because eerie. That speech was like how many years ago now, and it could have been her saying it yesterday. That's why I was like, I don't even know if this is real, because this could have just been somebody that he got and he wrote it for this person, because it could have been written 2 days before the album. It was so relevant to the Kanye, and it goes back to my point of he's always been this way. He's not any different, So
overall, like Drake, I will admit to this, and I think he has in the past, that he's always kind of trying to get to Ye. He's always trying to get to that level. He'll beat him in the streams, but when it comes to like your overall music quality, like he's always trying to chase Ye. And I think this was Drake's chance to do it, and he may get a chance later on. We might get
credibility
lucky,
as an MC. At the end of the day, both of
but
them
I think
I
think Ye said, "Watch this. Like you ain't about to see nothing yet. Watch this."
Yeah, and I think he really went out there. Go ahead,
I think it goes to I got two other points I want to make, but I think that goes to the whole, like, it's always going to be emulated if you're the first one that does something notable, because everything after that is an emulation, and it's not going to have the same feeling as the original because you looked at the original to get your inspiration. So, like, that has to be said. Kanye was here first. Drake is always going to see that, like, I want to be great. I want to achieve greatness, as he always says. And, like, this is what that looks like. So he's always going to be trying to chase after what he saw in front of him at some point. And here's where when we're going back to the original question, who had the better album release? Here's my two biggest takeaways in this moment. Both albums are crazy long. Yeah. Both albums are really long, and that's where they both lost points for me, because you have to be able to sit through a project and say, okay, do I want to skip through this? And with the Drake album, I was like, I really want to give this an honest shot, but I was like, every track sounds so similar. It's just like that SNL skit where Drake was like making fun of himself, like somebody spill his soda and then he'd rap about it real aggressively. It's just like the same thing over and over again. But the most noteworthy thing in the release about Drake's album was he had this artist, Damien Hirst, who does all kinds of controversial art, and he was the one who did the album cover. And the album cover is just emojis. It's supposed to come out on Labor Day, and it's pregnant emojis. All right, haha, finger pistols, I get what you're doing. But, like, that's the only conversation to have about the release. The conversation about the release of Donda was Kanye literally created the album in front of us. Every piece of showing us what it was going to be. Stage. People were in the stadium where that happened.
That's nuts.
People were involved in social media throughout the entire process. And like Kyle said to kick this off, if you separate the artists from the music, there is a better release by Kanye trying to redefine what it is to release an album. He's still in the front trying to innovate, where Drake is saying, okay, I do a thing that's really good. He's good at what he does. It's unchanged and it's not evolving. Kanye is clearly evolving with each project. You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether
you can hear it. You can see
here's
it,
what I want to
hear
ask everybody. Let me ask this. What's the better social media meme? The Certified Lover Boy album with the pregnant emojis, or Kanye being I guess ascended up to the heavens.
I'm too scared. In all honesty, I'm too scared to use that pregnant emoji with all the powerful feelings towards women having the right to have an abortion right now. I don't even touch that emoji.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Sensitive. I'm like, that's not even on my keyboard. I ignore that one. I will write out pregnant before I try to make a cartoon of someone being pregnant.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah,
I think
I wonder if his team thought about that at all.
I'm sure this was in the works months before.
It all happened too fast. It's an afterthought. Sean, you said something that I think was really poignant, and I think about it in the terms of Chami, the producer Chami. Chami created a sound, and just like you said, then everybody had to emulate that sound, and it killed the sound. And then it's like even the guy that created it, it's like you don't even want to hear him make any of that music. And what separates a great artist from that point is like what they can do after. And when Kanye constantly gets imitated or people take a little bit from him, he's never comfortable just making the next album sound like the album before. And so you got to appreciate him for that. I mean, if nothing else, you might never, I don't know if I'll ever play one of his songs off this album out unless someone asks me to. Maybe I'll play Hurricane or the Lauren joint, but I'm sure I'll play some of the Drake stuff out because you'll definitely feel. But to the point of which one I would rather listen to, it would certainly be the Kanye album because it's just more interesting all around.
I have a question for Gio and Chris.
Yeah,
because you've been around. I feel like you've been around in hip hop the longest, right?
Yeah.
What are you guys saying? What are you guys trying to say?
Battle.
Who's the hottest?
Like
who? I feel like hip hop's always been, who's the coolest, who's the hottest, who has the best car, who has this, who has that. I feel like that's kind of the nature of it. Who right now? Like, you're looking at the game. Who's the alpha?
Tyler.
Who's the hottest MC right now?
Tyler, the creator.
Tyler.
I was gonna say Tyler, the creator, had the best album too this year. Like that's the funny thing is like everybody's all about these two albums, but the Tyler album is the dopest album.
That shit is amazing.
I meant like who's the most popular? Like the torch gets passed. Like it gets passed down. Like, there was the Jay-Z era. There was the Iggy era.
I mean, right now it's Drake.
Yeah. You think
if we're comparing it with Drake and Kanye's era has already passed.
What year did you think it got passed?
2014, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like his last year of like relevancy.
Yeah,
I thought it was
as far as being the top guy.
Nothing was
we're talking about the top
Drake,
guy.
I think for me was Drake's the guy now.
Yeah, Drake.
Yeah.
Oh, hands down. He's the guy that has the torch right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kyle, you got any last notes that you wanted to share with us? Because you did put.
The one thing I thought was important to point out was, they both have the best songs about females. I think that's hands down. Kanye has all of his songs about his mom, heartbreak, even about his daughter, just any female in his life. He's got a great artistic take on it. Drake kind of the same way from the R&B aspect. Supporting Girls at Texas State. Love that song. It's hilarious. But, Certified Lover Boy versus Donda, I think two perspectives from, two very emotional rappers. And I just thought Kanye is about his mom. Drake is about getting a stripper pregnant. I just think it's interesting. Interesting take.
Awesome.
Who do you guys think is gonna get the next? Who's gonna be the next top guy?
Probably a Korean
after Drake,
like a K-pop rapper.
Yeah,
you're probably right about
one of the BTS guys.
I'm rooting for Tyler.
Their songs are hot.
Oh my god!
I would be surprised if it's like it's like a woman next.
It's gonna be the rapping. It's gonna be the rapping tiger from Blackpink.
Anyways, guys, I think that's it for any other words. Any last words? Anybody?
I got one last thing to wrap.
One last thing. All right.
Believe what I say and Champagne Poetry were two attempts at the same concept, taking an already popular song and kind of flipping it. Kanye, mwah, chef's kiss. Drake, I'm very mad at you, but Masego got a plaque out of it, so I'll allow it.
Word.
There you go.
Adrian, how would you rate these albums? Since we both didn't do our homework.
Based on our description. Based on our description, who gave
Which
the
one do
better
you want to
description?
listen to more?
So
I'll definitely take a
based
listen on the Kanye album now.
I need to do that. That's my takeaway. Is
I
really
Kanye, I definitely have to sit down and listen to it during the jog or something.
Yeah.
But
and I always appreciate pushing that envelope. I mean that is true. I just want to echo that. Kanye's always been doing that, and
that's a good thing about Kanye. He does that all the time. So whether you like him or not, man, he is a true artist. Pretty much.
Whether you like it or not, he's gonna push the envelope.
Watch out, guys! We're doing art. We're doing art.
Like a Zappa style. Man.
One quick thing. In Jesus Lord, that on Kanye's album, where he gives the end of the song. He gives the whole I forget the guy's name. If you can help me out, anybody that remembers.
The baby is on that song. It depends on if you're talking about part 1 or part 2.
No, part 1, but it's the very end.
Big Meech, Larry Hoover Jr.
Yeah, Larry Hoover Jr. Yeah. Thank you. Yes,
Larry Hoover.
And he talks about his father in prison and everything. It's very powerful, very, very powerful. And I just give Kanye props for just allowing him to get on the track and explain, what his family's gone through, what he's gone through, what his family's gone through, and almost making it like a plead for pardoning. It was powerful. Using your art to help somebody.
These are the features on that song, just that one song. Think about it. Jadakiss, Styles P, J Electronica, outro by Larry Hoover Jr.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's all you gotta say.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
amazing.
the way that Larry Hoover ends it is powerful, man.
All right, well, Little Rock, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Anytime. You can have me
always.
to review an
Little
album
Rock.
anytime.
You're always welcome. Yeah, well, definitely next time we talk about maybe when Kendrick's next album comes out, we'll talk about that because I think he's the guy. I think he needs to be the top guy. Anyways. That's it for this episode of the Teachers Podcast. Again, presented by Beat Refinery. If you want to learn how to mix, scratch, and make music, make sure to visit beatrefinery.com. We have school locations nationwide. Again, from all of us. Big shout out to Stylist Chris, Sean J as one, Doc Bless, Little Rock. Make sure to everybody listening to the podcast, make sure to click like,
Peace in the middle.
comment, subscribe. The podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, so make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment, make sure to like it. It will definitely help us with the ratings. But that's it for today, and we'll see everybody next week. So everybody, y'all, peace out.
Teachers Lounge.
Back to
class.
Back to class, everybody.
Brush your teeth and do your homework.
Floss.
Oh yeah, don't forget to